So you get all the conversation we have? Very nice.
Yeah, like you got all that?
No, that's the part I didn't record.
Oh.
No. I record the professional part of the lecture.
So I was recording when he said Java is useless.
Java is the best language.
So you're recording it right now?
I am recording it right now. Yes. Okay. So let me just give you a quick review about the midterm and all that good stuff, so that you have some clues on what to do and make it easier for you. I already did this for the Monday class, so you can look through that. I am just going to go through the notes that I gave on the Monday class. First of all, there's a couple of pieces to this midterm. You have debug, multiple choice, 2 functions, and a longer program. All right, multiple choice. You know what a multiple choice is, right? It's one of those. If you feel like you didn't do too well or you did really, really bad, I might be willing to let you take it again. But let's try to do it right the first time. It's going to do things like, it's going to ask you questions like functions, what's a return, what's a parameter, predicting what are the errors with the code, predicting what are the different components of a loop, and predicting when a certain if will happen, predicting the outcome of different loops, or different cases, different selection scenarios, different loop scenarios. Not very hard. You're welcome to get the code that is in here, throw it in an actual program, and see what happens. Right? If I ask you how many times is this loop going to happen, well, get the loop, put it in a program, run it, see how many times it happens, and put the number in there. Okay. So the multiple choice quiz shouldn't be too bad, and it's a small portion of of the midterm, or it's like a 25%. I guess that's not a very small portion, maybe 15%. The other one is the midterm, debug a program. What I do is I give you a program with some kind of bugs in it, and I ask you to figure out and tell me what the bugs are just by inspection. So don't type it into a C++ program. Do not turn in a CPP file, because that will be a dead giveaway that you didn't do what I asked, which is do it without a compiler. Right? So don't actually type up the program to get it to work. Even if you do, don't tell me you did. Okay? What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to go through this code and tell me what's wrong with what line of code. Okay? And I actually have an example in here, the debug review. All right? And basically, let's say you have this is some other program that I have given in the past. What you can do is you can actually draw on the picture if you want to and tell me what's missing, right? Or you can just list the line numbers and what's wrong with the lines, right? I actually kind of find this a little easier. Okay? So let's go through this thing here. So first, a couple of things that I had. Where's the original one? Let me see. Debug without a compiler. All right, here's the program. Tell me what do you see wrong with this stuff here? First line looks good to me. Second line looks good to me. Fourth line looks good to me. What about the sixth line?
You don't need that.
I do need it. I want it. But what's wrong with it?
Oh,
Huh?
it doesn't have a semicolon.
Doesn't have a semicolon.
Okay.
Great. Good job, Heidi. Okay, next one. This one looks good to me. Repeat is equal to 1. Okay, what about line 9? Parentheses around the repeat equals 1. What about the equal sign?
Needs another one.
Another one. Awesome. Equal to check to see if it's equal. Okay, then I'm calling a function and then some other stuff. It looks like lines 10 through 11 are kind of indented underneath the loop, and it looks like maybe I wanted them to be part of the loop, but are they really? Something missing?
The
Curly brackets.
G.
Ye. Okay, good. All right.
Wait, does it matter if the semicolon on line 11 is blue? Shouldn't it be red? So does it mean?
No, the color is, the color of the actual stuff will change depending on where you write your code.
Okay.
Yeah. So some IDEs change the colors. Okay, what about line 11? What's wrong with line 11?
No first quote.
No first quote. Okay. And then remember that I always said that you should have prototypes, right? So the prototypes are missing on line 3. I should have the prototypes for these two functions. Not that this is not going to work without them, but you know, if you want to list that as an error, I'll give it to you if there's such an error. And then what about what's wrong with the intro business here? Anything wrong? Line 21
Does it have a semicolon?
doesn't have a semicolon. Instead of semicolon, I have like parentheses, so I should get rid of that most likely. What about the next line? Line 22?
It's missing one of the signs.
Well, we have this backslash right after the quotes. Most likely it should be inside of the quotes, right? We should have a backslash n to show a new line. Okay.
And in the beginning, you're missing.
Typo.
I have a one less than I should. Okay. What about this one here? The next line. Line 23.
You tried to call a variable.
I try to show a variable. Maybe I should have a less than in there. Also, these parentheses seem to be in the wrong place. Shouldn't be there. Okay. How about this stuff here? Let's look at the line 28. What's wrong with that picture? Couple of things.
You called your variable after.
Well, what's the data type for my variable? We don't know, right? I need to have a data type, maybe an integer. What about at the end? What's missing? Semicolon. Okay, this one looks good, right? That's the kind of thing that we should have had on top. All right, so then there's something wrong with line 31.
There's no.
You need the greater than, right? Then in here I have line 33. What's wrong with this picture? Total P's is equal to P's per pod plus.
Never called total P's.
I don't have total P's defined. Good. So that will give you an error. I need to have defined it similarly to how I did it here. What about this here? P's per pod plus quotes num pods.
You don't need the quotes.
You don't need the quotes. I cannot add P's per pod, which is an integer, apparently, to a string. That will give you an error. Line 34.
You're missing the less than.
Here, less than there, and that's about it. Okay, so there you go. That's an example of finding the errors in a buggy program. So what I'm giving you here for the actual midterm is I'm telling you that this program is going to have 15 bugs. There's 15 bugs in the program. You're supposed to find 10 only, right? So I have introduced way more bugs than you need to find. You just find 10 of them and you're happy. Don't stop at 10. Go on until maybe 13, 14, as many as you can find. Because a lot of times you would find an error, you would think it's an error, but it isn't an error. Okay, so just to be on the safe side, make sure that you list more than 10 errors, just in case some of the errors that you found are not real errors. Okay, so that's that. I'm not going to take points off if you say something is an error but it isn't. Okay, so you only get points for stuff you got right. All right, so the next thing is midterm 2 functions. So you need to know about functions, and you need to know what is a function that returns a value, what is a function that is void, which does not return a value, what are parameters. Okay, so we're going to look at this right here. All right, so in here I have a couple of examples. The first one is a function which is called return val, right? Obviously it's going to return a value. That's what int is here. I have my function prototype, right? And then after the main, I have my function definition, right? So always make sure prototype before the main, definition is after the main. This function returns a value 1, and what's going to happen is we're going to call the function right here. This is how you call a function that returns a value, right? So you can either call it from inside of a cout. You're going to have a cout, then you're going to call the function in there. We're going to go to the function definition. We're going to get that 1. We're going to return it right where the function was called, and we're going to show it there. Another way you can call the function is make some kind of a variable equal to that function call. You go to the function definition, get the 1, return it, and then this becomes equal to 1. One thing I need to warn you about is that you should not name your variables the same thing as your functions. So I have a function here that's called return val. Do not create a variable that's called return val. Okay? No good. Not sure if it's going to work, but there you go. It doesn't like it. Okay? So you get an error if you have a function that has the same name as a variable name. So variable names should be different from your function names. No repeaters. Okay? Any questions on how to call a function that returns a value? How to make a function that returns a value? Right? Function prototype. There's your function calls, examples, and your function definition all the way at the bottom somewhere. Sheesh, wrong one. Wrong assignment. Let me erase this stuff. There. Okay? So, the next one is a function that has parameters. And by the way, why am I showing you this? Because there was an example of a function that returns a value, right? One of the assignments that I gave you was write a function that is returning a random value between -10 to 10. So I'm actually giving you a freebie here. If you have done the homework, just get that assignment, change it a little bit, and it works. If you haven't done the homework, you can ask me questions about that assignment, and I'll help you with it, and then you can use that for your function 1. Okay? Half the points is for you to make sure that the function returns a value and you show it from the main the correct point. And the other one is to actually make the random number correctly. All right? So calling the function right and returning the value is half the points. The other half is making the random number. Okay, the next one is have a void function which takes 3 float parameters. Okay, and displays the largest number. So I go in there and I give you an example of a function which has 2 parameters. They're not floats, they're integers, right? This is my first parameter, my second parameter. Okay, and then how do I call a function that is a void? Well, it's right here. Okay, it's different from how you call a function that returns a value, right? If you have a function that is a void that's going to show something, you just call it. You don't need to put it inside of a cout. You don't need to make a variable equal to it. Okay, so this is my function prototype. These are my function calls. Remember, this is my parameter 1, parameter 2, and these 2 values that I'm sending in are the 2 arguments. Okay, let's look at my function definition. Here it is. Right, so these are my 2 parameters. Right, if the first one is bigger than the second one, I'm going to show it, and otherwise I'm going to show the other one. All right, any questions? That's how you do this one. Okay, so this is pretty much in a nutshell what you need to do for that shorter one with the 2 functions. Now the other one is the longer midterm program. Okay, the longer midterm program asks you to do a couple of things, right? We're going to be doing something with a triangle, right? You're going to ask the user to enter sides A, B, C for a triangle, and you're going to tell the user if it's an equilateral, right, or isosceles triangle. Okay? So, and you're going to set up the program so that you can choose to repeat the program if desired. Test your program for the 4 types of triangle. So the 4 types will be equilateral, right, isosceles, and some other type. Okay? Oh, and you're supposed to validate the user input so that these sides are only positive. So let's look at what hints I give you for this. So first of all, one of the pieces of the puzzle are asking you to find if something is a right triangle. If it's a right triangle, the sum of the square of the 2 sides is equal to the square of the third side. Right? To find a square in C++, you cannot use this, right? I've seen that too many times from students. This does not work in C++. It does not work in Java. It does not work in Python. Probably doesn't work in BASIC either, right? This is how you're going to do a square. That's the easiest thing. Okay? So that's that. If you want to make a program repeat itself a bunch of times, right? Let's say you're going to have the user enter some kind of a value, right? You're going to ask them if they want to repeat, right? If they want to repeat, prompt them, tell them what to say. One means yes, they want to repeat. 2 means no. If repeat is not equal to 1, you break the loop. Okay? And that is what you're going to have in your while true loop. So all this stuff is how you are going to enter your value. I mean, how you're going to get your program to repeat. Okay? The one thing that I didn't show here is input validation. I guess I'll show you that too. So input validation, make sure that A is positive. We're going to use a while loop. All right? If while my A is less than 0, I'm going to go and I'm going to ask the user the same question again. Okay? So that's the input validation. That's part of the puzzle for the longer program. Enter a positive value for A. Okay? So that's your input validation, which is a bit, at some point of your points, some amount of your points is to check that these are positive. Now checking to see if this is an equilateral triangle or right triangle or isosceles triangle, right? What you're going to do is, right, you already had an assignment that had you do to see if a triangle is a right triangle. I guess this is how you check to see if 3 things are the same, right? So if you have check if 3 values are the same, right? You should know how to do that, but just in case, if you have, let's say you have int A, B, C, right? And then you're trying to see if A is equal to B, which is equal to C. You do if A is equal to B and B is equal to C, right? I don't want to see this kind of a stuff. I don't want to see if A is equal to B is equal to C. That's not a proper syntax in C++. Okay? So that's how you check to see if 3 things are equal. Okay? So that's your another hint for, and make sure, of course, you want to do something in there. Cout all are equal. Okay? So that's that. The next thing is, so what you want to do is you want to check to see if the triangles, first you're going to validate the thing, make sure they're all positive. Then you're going to check to see if all sides are equal. Then you're going to check to see if the sum of 2 sides is equal to the sum of 2 sides squared is equal to the third side squared. You want to do this not just for A plus B is equal to C. You want to do A plus C is equal to B. You want to see C plus B is equal to A, right? So check all 3, make sense? Okay. And then the last one, so the way I would do it is I would have an if, I would have an else if with 3 ends in it, right? For all the 3, equal checks. Then what we're going to do is we're going to check to see with another else if it's an equilateral. What does it mean to be equilateral? Well, only 2 sides are equal. If A is equal to B, but B is not equal to C. If A is equal to C, but, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so they're not all equal. And then, so it's an if, else if, and then the final one would just be an else. Okay, and then if it's an else, you just tell the user it's some other number. At the end, you have to make sure that the program repeats, and I gave you an example for that thing, right? You just have the whole thing inside of a while true. At the end, you ask if the thing should repeat. We had to do a few of these, so if you've been doing them, you're comfortable. And if you haven't, do them. And then I have some sample test runs for you to see, just run it the same way that I ran it a bunch of times, and if you get the same results, you're good to go. You're welcome to check with me for your midterm. If you get stuck on something, just bring it over, send me an email, whatever you need, I'll help you out. Okay? If you decide to turn this in before checking with me, which I don't know why you would, but it will happen, then if you lose any points, I will let you redo it for half the points. You can get half the points back. Ah, right? You don't get that on midterms normally, do you? No, you don't. All right. And that's why you take Java. Yes.
Well, when is this due? Is it due next week or?
This is due like everything else. If you turn it in before the end of the semester, I will grade it for you. But if you want to get that freebie regrade, I really suggest you turn it in as early as possible. Okay? Right, Rigo?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. You still filling them up?
Yeah. I got like 10 going.
Oh, nice. Thank you. All right. So that's basically the midterm in a nutshell. Woohoo. All right. So now the next thing is, you really are filling up more, aren't you? Okay. So what we're gonna do is let's look at a little bit something extra from the previous week, real quick, about the prime numbers and showing stars. All right, so these two are extra credits. All right, they're a little bit more challenging than the other assignments that we've had because they require nested loops. And then later on, I'll give you another one that's kind of similar to this stuff when we do locker numbers. I'm going to give you a problem where you have 1,000 lockers, 1,000 students. Lockers are initially open. No, they're locked. Then the first student goes and opens all the locker. Then the second student goes and locks every other locker. Then the third student locks if it's open or opens if it's locked every third locker, etc., etc., etc. And when we get to the 1,000th student, I'm going to ask you how many lockers are open and how many lockers are open and which exact ones. Which is, it sounds complicated, but it's just, I'll show you how to do that too when we get to it. So first, the prime number business. Let's have a look at it. So what's the prime number?
Number that can't be divided, like 3 is a prime number, 7 is a prime number.
Okay, but how do you define it?
Divisible by like 1 or something.
Okay, all right. So a prime number is only divisible by 1 or itself.
Yeah.
Right? So you cannot divide 3 by 2, you cannot divide 5 by 2, you cannot divide 7 by 2, or 3, or 4, or 5. Right? You can divide 7 by 7, you can divide 7 by 1, but you can't divide it by any other number. Okay? So what we're going to do is, I'm just going to show you how to do the prime number business, right? So the prime number business is, the first thing that I'm going to do is this part. Right? So I'm going to say, okay, well, I'm going to have some kind of a number. Let me go to C line so I can show you the prime number stuff. All right. So let's say I have, so the idea is I'm going to have like some kind of a num to test, and let's say that number is 5, right? What I want to do is I want to do 5 divided by 2 is equal to what? Right? What I want to do is I want to do 5 divided by 3 is equal to what? Right? 5 divided by 4 is equal to what? And that's it. I don't need to test by 1. I don't need to test by 5. So, how am I going to check to see if it's evenly divisible? Well, I'm going to check to see if the num to test, let's call this int num to test. All right? If my num to test modulus 2 equals 0. If this is true, then it's evenly divisible by 2. Okay? But I'm not going to go and write manually these numbers. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a loop to generate these numbers for me. So before I do this, let's do this. I'm going to make a for int I is equal to 0. Well, let's do it at 2. I is less than num to test I plus plus. I can show you cout I equals I. Okay, And if I run this thing, and you get to see 2, 3, 4, those are the numbers that I wanted to see. Okay? So that's good. Now the next thing I need to do is I need to throw this test inside my loop. And I'm actually going to throw in some curly brackets. Alright. So if num to test modulus I is equal to 0, if that's the case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just break the loop, right? So if divisible, not a prime, so stop checking. I don't need to, if let's say if I had a 6, right? If I have 6 if 6 is divisible by 2, I don't need to go and check all the other ones. It's already not a prime. It failed the test, so break. Okay? But if I got all the way to the 4, and this thing is still not divisible, right? Then it is a prime. So how are we going to do this? So I'm going to say, okay, if my num to test modulus I is not equal to 0, right? Let me just reduce some of these spaces here. There you go. Num to test modulus I is not equal to 0, which is, it's good so far. And we got to all the way to the last one, 4. Right? What does that mean? That means that my I is equal to num to test minus 1. Right? This here is 5 minus 1. So when my I, which here, this I, we already saw that I is equal to 2, 3, 4. Right? For this num to test, this thing is equal to that. So if I get to this value, which is when I is equal to num to test minus 1, then I'm going to show you that this thing is a prime number. Not print, cout. I'm going to say num to test is a prime number. Okay? And a little space in here, and let's see if this works. And what did it do? It showed me that prime is a number, prime number, or 5 is a prime number. I'm gonna go in there and let's check for a non-prime number, 4. Am I gonna get this message? Nope. Okay. How about 3? Yep. How about 6? Nope. How about 7? Yep. Okay, so it seems like it's identifying my prime numbers, and at this point, I'm not going to say that num to test is equal to 5 or whatever it was originally. I'm going to make a loop for it. I'm going to say, okay, well, for int num to test equals, what's the initial value of num to test that I'm asking? I'm asking to look through the numbers from 3 to 1,000 and tell me which ones are prime. So what's the initial value of my num to test? Wrong one. 3. Okay. So this is 3. And then what is my last value of num to test? Num to test is less than, the last one was what, 100? So it's less than or equal to 100. And then num to test plus plus. What don't you like? Highest previous declaration. Okay, good to know. Okay. And then I'm going to throw in curly brackets here. I'm going to get this loop. I'm going to indent it. And I'm going to throw in the second curly bracket in there. And that's how you find prime numbers. If I run this thing, these are your prime numbers from 3 to 100. Did that blow your mind? I bet you didn't see that in your basic class. All right. So, what else? By the way, he was taking my class. He is currently taking my Java class.
Really?
Oh yeah.
My teacher. He's like that in the bracket areas.
He was also taking my Python class a few semesters before. Okay. So, all right. So that's prime numbers. So does that tell you how cool Java is? Your basic instructor is taking Java. That's how cool Java is. I can't sell it to you any better. Cup of coffee with what? Tequila in it? With Java, okay, sorry. All right, so going to now the stars. All right, so here's the stars business. The stars thing is you're supposed to write a function which is called show stars, and that function is supposed to produce this kind of a thing. Okay? And I say in here that you're not permitted to use string concatenation. In other words, let's say you have a string. String is equal to like a star, right? Let's call it S. S. String S is equal to that. Okay? And if I did S is equal to S plus a little star, what is this going to show me? Cout S equals, well, let's just do S. S and L. All right. So what is this going to show me here? One star, right? What about this one? Okay, good. Easy enough, right? You don't get to use that for the stars assignments. Okay, so that's why you don't get to use it, because it's pretty easy. So what I want you to do is, without using this, show me this pattern and how we're going to do that. So let me show you. So I'm going to go in there, and I'm not going to put it in a function. I'm just going to write it inside of the main. But putting it in a function is pretty much the same thing. So I'm going to take these out. And let's do this. So I'm going to say, all right, so let's say I have a variable num stars, which is equal to 5, which is what this is, right? And then I'm going to do a loop for int I is equal to 0, I is less than num stars, I plus plus, right? And then I'm going to do a cout, little asterisk, and L. Okay? If I run, huh?
Question.
What's up?
Can you just go over again why you need to put I is less than in the variable? Yeah, right there.
Okay, so
Say it again?
this tells it where to stop. So okay, so the question is why. The question was why did I have to do this? Okay, here I'm telling it where to start. So the format for the loop is this is where it's going to start, this is where it's going to stop, and this is my increment. So I'm telling it start at 0, go on while you are less than number of stars, and increase your value by +1 every time. Yes?
Makes sense.
All right. So yes.
If you put equal, then it would, because the way you have it now, it's just going to show 0 to 4.
Yes.
But if you put less than or equal to num stars, it's going to show 0 to 5, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So if I have it this way, then the values of I are going to be equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I make it less than or equal to, then it will go to 5. Okay? But let's go back to what I had originally, because I really do want this thing to happen 5 times, right? And if I have it this way, it will happen how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, since we're counting the 0. Okay? So now I'm going to go and run this thing, see what it looks like. I get just a column of stars. All right, so this is what I got. This is what I got. All right, yeah, it kind of messes me up with these stars. There you go. All right, this is what I got, but this is what I want to get. I want to get this thing. All right, I can get rid of these extra new lines, no big deal. Okay, and by the way, it showed me 5 stars. It's just this auto formats them the wrong way. All right, so I got this, and I need this. Okay, so the way I'm going to think about this is, I'm going to say, okay, well, hold on. This here is when I have my line 0, right? Then when I go to the next one, I'm going to copy this. Now it's a line 1, right? So this is my first line, this is my second line. I'm just going to start at 0. Okay? Then this is my line 2, third line, my line 3, fourth line, my line 4, fifth line, right? Okay, so what we need to notice is that when I have line 0, how many extra stars do I need to add?
4.
0.
But like you need to reserve the space for 4.
No, we're not going to reserve spaces. We don't have to do that, right? But so basically, the question is how many for this line right here, this thing matches, right? So whenever I have line 0, I'm going to add 0 stars, right? Whenever I get to line 1, I'm going to add how many stars? 1 star. I already have 1 star, so I only need to add 1 more, right, to get the 2 stars. Then when I go to the line 2, I need to add 2 stars. All right? Whenever I go to line 3, I add 3 stars.
What do you do in line 4?
Well, guess what? Line 4, I have to add 4 stars. I know, it blows your mind. Okay? All right, so now by writing out this thing tediously, step by step, I've visualized that, okay, this is the pattern. This is what I need to do. So I'm going to show a star, then I'm going to insert a bunch of extra stars, and then I'm going to show a new line. So I'm going to show a star. I'm going to insert as many extra stars as my line number, and I could change this thing. Instead of an I, why don't I call it line? Alright, so now it's going to be a line. Remember, just try to have meaningful variable names to have a more easier to understand program. Okay, so I'm going to insert as many extra stars as my line number. So whenever my line is 0, I add 0. Whenever my line is 1, I add 1. So I make another loop for int, let's call it k is equal to 0. K is less than line k plus plus. Right? Curly brackets. I show another star in there. And no new line yet. So let's think about what's going to happen. Whenever this thing is 0, right? I'm going to show a star. Then I'm going to go look at this loop. K is equal to 0. While k, which is 0, is less than 0. Is 0 less than 0? No. So this loop is not going to happen. So for whenever line is 0, we're not going to add any stars because this loop is not going to happen at all. And I'm just going to show a new line. So basically I show this, and I'm going to show a new line, and that's that. Then I'm going to go through my second iteration through the loop. Now line is equal to 1. Okay? When line is equal to 1, k is equal to 0, right? While k 0 is less than 1, is 0 less than 1? Yes, it is. We're going to show the star one time. Then k goes to 1. Is 1 less than 1? No, it isn't. So we stop. But we're going to show 1 extra stars, and then we're going to do a new line, so we're going to show this thing. Right? Third time I go through the loop, line is equal to 2. Right? So again, we're going to restart this loop again. K is equal to 0, while 0 is less than 2. Show a star, then it goes to 1. Show another star, then it goes to 2. And 2 is not less than 2, so it stops. Okay? So if it works like I meant it, this thing should show me this kind of a thing. Okay? Let's check. Run it. And there you go. You got a bunch of stars. Okay? So if you want to challenge yourself a little bit, what I would recommend is do not just do it this way, but try to think about how to do this so that you reverse this pattern. In other words, you're going to have this one first. I hate it how it does this. You're going to have this first. Then you would have this one after it. Then you would have the next one after it. Then you're going to have the next one after that. Right? And so on until you get to the last one. Right? In fact, you can do both of them. Right? I showed you how to do this one. You can use this to create the other one underneath it. What's up?
So when you're gonna, because throughout the loop, because you were saying that you have to put line equals 0, line equals 1, you would start like a whole new thing from the line 36 each time to make it happen?
No, you mean you're going to start at line 4. You have to just think of, okay, so before what I did is, so what you need to change is this. The original way that this works is this loop happens one time, so every time the value of line here increases, that increases how many times this is going to happen. You need to think of another relationship. So what you need to do is you need to start this thing at num stars basically, and then you need to think of how you're going to make it so that it decreases by 1 every time this number increases. So initially it's going to start, well no, sorry. It's going to go from 0 to num stars initially, right? But then we need to figure out a relationship how this loop is going to happen 1 less time every time this one happens. How are you going to do that?
Would you start like from line? No. Could you subtract?
You
So-
could subtract. It's exactly what you're going to do.
Okay.
So you're going to be actually subtracting the value of line from this one here. So while k is less than num stars minus line. That's how you're going to change it. Okay? But you didn't see that. There you go. That's the original one.
Wait, but my question was,
Yeah.
would you write like 4 in line equals 0 and then do all that, and then another one 4 in line equals 1 and do all that?
You would be doing the same thing that you're seeing here. You like, okay, so the way we have it, the way this works here is for this. Right?
Yeah.
So now whenever you want to do it the other way, you want to do it this way now, right? What you're going to do is, man, I hate how it does this. What you're going to do is you have to tell it, okay, start at 5 stars. All right, so let's do it. I'm going to do it right here. I'm going to get this, throw it in here, right? So first of all, this is going to happen. This one here just shows me my columns. Remember that one showed me these, okay? But the one that I'm caring about here is this loop. So I'm going to start this thing equal to 0. I'm going to tell it don't go to less than line, go to less than num stars,
I get it.
right? But then I'm going to subtract line from that every time. So initially, this thing is going to happen as many times as I have stars, right? So this is going to happen 5 times for line 0. But then when I go to line 1, then it's going to happen 5 minus 1. So it's going to happen 4 times. And so on and so on. Yeah?
I got it.
All right, cool. Now I'm going to take it away just so that you can play with it. Okay? So that is stars and nested loops and all that good stuff.
Was that part of the midterm or was that the
You-
exam itself?
This is just extra credit from the previous, from assignments 46 and 47, the extra credit ones. Awesome. Okay, so that's all I want to tell you. Thanks for coming and staying the whole time this time.
Almost super right now.
All right, I'm gonna have to give you like $1 or something. Okay, so I will see you next time. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll go to my office right now if you want to join me for a cup of tea.